Welcome to Bowles' Theory of Everything. We're in between seasons. We're just finishing the indoor and we're starting the outdoor Easter weekend. My Bowles clothes are in between too. I think they're in for the wash. But I've got my hat on, got my bowl. Today, rules, how we apply them, common sense. Okay, imagine this. On our housing estate, we've got a small green area. It's got a sign on there which says no ball games. It's on a post. A few yards away is a tree. And I walk along then, kids are using it as goalposts. And do I tell them to clear off? No, I take a common sense view. Tell them, don't break any windows or annoy the neighbours. Later on in the day, I pull up at my local garage to fill up with petrol. I see the sign at the pumps that says, switch off your phone. Who switches off their phone? Either my wife and I fill up the tank and the other one stays in the car and checks their texts or answers a call on their phone. The common sense view is don't wave the phone out of the window near the pump. Okay, what about Bowles rules? Well, the first thing is to say that there are different sets of rules in England. The EIBA, which follows the World Bowls Rules. And then there's the EBF, the Federation Rules we call them, found mainly in the east of England. Okay, here's a list where these rules differ. Mat placements. Now, in the EIBA, when you play your first end or an extra end, you can put the mat anywhere up to the minimum mark down there. But in Federation Rules, you have to place the mat on the tee. And I've been told this season by one or two people that's what I have to do, but actually our club is an EIBA club, so they're incorrect. Counting all live bowls count in EIBA, but in the Federation game, only bowls within a yard of the jack count. So it's no good having a touch of miles away in the ditch, it doesn't count. Trial ends. Usually these are allowed under EIBA rules, but often they're not allowed in the Federation rules unless specified. If the jack is out of bounds, the jack is re-thrown in the EIBA rules. The jack comes back and the opponents have the right to roll their jack. In Federation, it's usually re-spotted over to here. Dead ends. EIBA, the end is replayed. In Federation, the jack is re-spotted and some competitions have no dead end at all. Timing rules. This is very different. In EIBA, no strict time controls unless specified, but Federation competitions may have more timing restrictions to them. In other parts of the world, bowlers may be playing to different sets of rules. I'd be interested to know if this is true, so please add in comments and tell me. I'd be very interested. Thirdly, there are local rules for club games. So down at our club here, we have different rules. For example, for re-spotted jack. So in our league games, jack goes off, yes, it's re-spotted. We play only a certain number of ends, so we can make sure they get played within 2 hours. Other games, we have an extra point if you get a toucher. These are just local rules which the club can do as long as they're not entering a game and playing in the EIBA. So all these different rules can be used to confuse you and gain an advantage. All bowlers should make sure they know which rules they're playing to, then make a polite response where another bowler says different. Always make a proportionate response. For example, if a game is not a seriously important game, give some ground and offer to show the rule another time. Even when players all know particular rules, they need to apply them in the right spirit. Sometimes rules are misused, bent, or used to gain an advantage. And here are some examples. And we've come across it this season too. Foot faulting. We all know the rule. The trailing leg has to be on or over the mat. Any part of the mat. Now, if it's clear, if somebody's right off, okay. I think what I do, if it's a friendly game, I wouldn't say anything about that. I'd perhaps point it out at the end of the game. They're in a friendly game with people, they're not aware of it, they've got into bad habits, and it's not a deliberate thing. They're not deliberately trying to gain anything by it, so be easy on it. Sometimes it's deceptive, sometimes somebody has quite a quick action and you think they're off the mat and they're not. You can only really see by looking from above, so be careful when you try and call somebody out on that one. Excessive measuring. Okay, I have said in a separate video you have a right to call for a measure, but you can overdo it. Sometimes people just, it's quite clear that they're not in, but time and time again they call for a measure, and that's used to disrupt the rhythm or frustrate the opponent. So try and be reasonable when you ask for measures. Selective use of timing rules. So if you're on a time limited game, for example, the Federation rules, what you should not do is use that time to frustrate your opponents. For example, you might be winning with 10 minutes on the clock and you think, oh, if I get one end in, they're never going to catch me up. But if we get two ends in, they've got a chance. So what I'll do, I'll slow the game down. I'll ask for a measure. I'll go and do something else. I'll readjust myself. I'll pretend there's somebody else about to bowl. I'll stop it, slow it down. No, you shouldn't do that. Similarly, if you're ahead, some players will rush and try and push the other person off the mat almost and speed up down the end. But knowing opponent struggles under pressure. Hovering behind the mat. Somebody's on the mat and you're here. Technically, you might just be behind them, but if you're so close, you can intimidate or distract them. So that may be legal if you might be just behind the mat. That's strictly within the rules, but that would be poor sportsmanship if you're hovering and putting them off. Removing bowls out of ditch. If a bowl goes off the side and it goes in a ditch, yes, it should be taken off technically before the next bowl is bowled. However, what you shouldn't do is wait until the opponents are about to bowl and then walk up the rink to get your bowl out of the ditch. That has happened to me and my wife, and that's a deliberate attempt. That's a gamesmanship at its most classic. Similarly, with touches. Now, once the bowler's touched, it has to be chalked. That's clear. But you have until the next bowl comes to rest before chalking it. So there's no need to wait until your opponent is on the mat and then go up, chalk the bat, and then walk back and disrupt your opponent. That's wrong. So there's plenty of time to wait until the other person's bowled. You've got 16 seconds usually for the bowl to come down. You can easily then chalk it. If you are in trouble and you can't chalk it for some reason, or it's tilting, whatever, you can ask your opponent, say, can I nominate that as a toucher, please? And that should normally okay. And the other person, again, you should accept that in the spirit of the game. So there are all the different sorts of rules that you can tweak and use. So, summary. I think we all know when we're acting near the mark or our opponent is. Please let your bowls decide the outcome of a game instead of frustrating others by citing rules or enforcing them without common sense and good spirit. That's all for today, and next time I'm hoping to be weather permitting, on our outdoor green, a little outdoor green, and I'm looking forward to that because our friends from Australia may not have come across greens like this. They're very sporting, as they say. So all the best to you. Please comment and please subscribe to get notification of that next video and the subsequent ones which are going to be outdoors. Thank you very much. Bye bye.